Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC. See, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and business growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. You know, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. So you can't give what you don't have. So first you must grow yourself in order to grow others. So we believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us help others. So tonight we have another dynamic leader. And you know, every week, every time, I like to do a proper introduction of our guest. So let me introduce our special guest tonight, Miss Lynn Brown. Lynn Brown believes courage is the key to personal and organizational transformation. Her mission is to inspire people to break through limiting beliefs and create courageous lives and healthy cultures. During her 25 years of leadership in education and business, she saw and experienced the hold that limiting beliefs had on her own life and in the organizations she served. Refusing, though, to participate in the status quo, she committed her life to crashing through barriers to positively impact the lives of thousands of students through her work as a counselor, a teacher, and a top performer in the John Maxwell team. Realizing the organizations frequently settle for good enough, she began to work with leaders and employees to engage in the fierce, powerful, and courageous conversations that lead to bold actions. That led to bold actions necessary to leap forward to truly remarkable performance and impact. Now that's outstanding, folks. But listen to this. Her work is guided by quotes from her inspirational mentors. First of all, Paul Martinelli, belief drives behavior. And then John C. Maxwell, better is the enemy of best. Now you can't beat that. That's just awesome, right? So Lynn continues to impact the lives of others through workshops, speaking, and coaching. She currently works with technology companies, healthcare organizations, schools, chamber of commerce, juvenile justice agencies, businesses, and individuals. She was the top performer with the John Maxwell team's Global Youth Initiative, during which she impacted, get this number, the lives of over 4,000 students across the world in 2017 and 18. Lynn received the John Maxwell team's Intentional Living Culture Award in 2018, where she shared the stage with Dr. John C. Maxwell, and she shared the story of how she connected her community to a cause. Get this, folks, this is a major cause, raising $20,000 in one day for a 21-year-old woman facing formidable medical expenses following an automobile accident. Now, talking about a leader that's impacting her community, that's what Lynn is doing. So Lynn truly loves the work she does and believes every person has a purpose. Sometimes they just need a little encouragement to find their true purpose. So help me, Facebook, help me welcome Miss Lynn Brown to the show.
Wow, Cedrick, I just feel like I could just jump up right now and just run through, the streets of my town like Rocky Balboa. I mean, that was amazing. I was like, who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? But thank you so much. And it's such an honor, to be a part of your show. I have followed you and been a part of, this growth journey with you, but just the maximizing that you've done with this business and the impact that you have allowed to work through you to serve young people, to serve business leaders, to serve schools and organizations is mind-blowing. And I appreciate it. It's truly an honor for me to be on your show tonight. And I just hope together tonight that we'll just bring value together as we talk and share together, that we will somehow make a difference. You know, if it's just one person, if one person tonight is inspired and encouraged and says, you know what, starting today, I'm going to go out and do something, you know, that I've been wanting to do. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned from this growth journey, is that it is just pushing me so far past anything I've ever dreamed or imagined.
You're
You know,
absolutely
so,
right.
you know, I don't know. I'm a work in progress. Let me be the first to say that I am a work in progress. I mean, just yesterday, I did a training, a virtual training, and it was about a 7-hour training. And during the actual training, I mean, you know, I was it. I was it. I was the show. I was bringing it, and I was working on my battery. I'm plugging in my computer charger, and I hit the off button. I hit the side button on my computer, and disconnected me from the whole training. You know.
Wow.
I mean, who does that? Who does that? But I have been taught, you know, and I'm being taught each week by our mentors. We share that, you know, a lot of the same mentors, and I've seen them, you know, in action. I've watched John even on stage sometimes, how he can turn a mess into a masterpiece. And, you know, so I've been able to watch and see how they respond to any types of situations. And I turned that into a lesson. I truly did. I was able to just laugh about it. You might as well laugh.
Right.
And I turned it into a teachable moment, you know, the law of pain, whatever, you know, you got to turn whatever's bad into something good. And
Absolutely.
that's just how I live my life. I mean, I've got so many dents in my fenders and rips in my jeans. I mean, it's funny, really. So it is comical, but I look back over the last 5 years and I'm in awe.
Well, that's awesome. You're doing some great stuff, and I'm excited to have you on the show tonight. And I want to help the audience understand who Lynn Brown is, tell your story, tell them what great things you're doing. So I'm going to dive right into these questions, and let's just run for it, okay?
Okay.
So tell us, Lynn, about your journey to leadership, and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, my journey was, I took the long way around the world. You know, in 2010, I switched. I had to switch, make a life change. I was leading in a direct selling company and had some success, but that company, I mean, my direction, my leadership in that company, my handling of my business, it finally went sideways, and I had to let that go. And so I happen to have a master's degree, and so it was just everybody's opinion that I should take a job at a school. Well, that was the last thing that I wanted to do. And they gave me 3 options. And so I avoided this one school just because I really felt like I wasn't qualified for the job they were offering me, but I just didn't want to go there. So I chose an alternative school and a juvenile detention center. And it was there that I began to see things differently. And as only fate would have it, I was transferred out of there by the superintendent, and she put me in the school that I had originally avoided. And it was in that place that my whole life changed. And I'll never forget walking in that first day, and the door shut behind me, and it sounded like a prison slamming. I remember it echoed down the sidewalk. And then later I found out that our school was actually, the blueprint was actually designed after a prison. And I just, that bothered me, honestly. And then I began to see, I looked around, I was like, where are all the beautiful, you know, pictures and murals, and where's all the happy part? You know, what's going on here? And at first, nobody really knew what to do with me there. And I was different. I thought different. I looked different. I was different. But we began to, one by one, you know, build relationships there. And a couple years into it, there was a speaker that came there, and she was amazing. She was so dynamic. She was just, she just captured the whole audience. And afterwards, all the kids ran up to her, and adults too. And I remember thinking, my word, I just want to work for her. I think I'm just going to work for her. There's nothing else for me to do in my life. I'll just go work for her. And if she gets sick, maybe I'll speak for her. So I left her a note. I wrote her a note. I mean, who does that? But I didn't have the courage to ask her. So I just wrote her a note, said, look, I'll travel the world with you. If you ever get sick, I can fill in for you and talk. I mean, I bet she thought, what? A loser. I was like, who does that? But I was just desperate. I was like, she's going somewhere. I'm going with her, And so anyway, long story short, she never called. Not once ever did she ever call me. Surprise, surprise. But about a year later, I walked into my office and shut the door, and I just looked up and said out loud, there's got to be more. I know there's something more for me. And there was a minute with Maxwell, and it said, become a speaker, trainer, and coach. And I clicked it, and before I knew it, I was all in. And it was at that moment that was the first time in my life that I had taken a step in the direction of my dreams. I'd never bet on myself before. Through a very just unfortunate and negative experience, in my elementary school and middle school, I was convinced by the 8th grade that I was dumb and stupid. I literally knew that I could not learn. There was no way that I could learn, and that I was going to have to get my attention other ways. And so I did, and I got into a lot of trouble. And there's not enough time on this talk show, this leadership show, to start going into all my troubles. But, kicked out of school, kicked off the cheerleading squad. I mean, taken to jail, just you name it, I did it. And all because my belief was driving my behavior. And that's why that's one of my most favorite quotes, because when I heard that come out of Paul Martinelli's mouth, and he said, our belief drives our behavior, I about fell out of my seat at that certification, that my first event, because it was like, that was a code that was cracked for my life. And I thought, wow, even though I didn't really understand it all,
right,
that I'd never heard anything like that. I didn't even know there was something called personal growth. I mean, seriously, I did not even know that you needed to grow. I thought I was grown. I thought, well, I went to school, I have a master's degree. I'm done. I'm grown. I thought, this is it. I'll have some fun, take some more pictures, and life's going to be good. I had no idea what the world was waiting on me to do, and so God just did some major stuff. And so anyway, I went and was certified, came back, and a couple of years later, the school continued. We made some progress. We really did. But then it began to kind of erode, and the toxic level was definitely returning. But I was so fired up. So I just begged them, please let me train at the leadership meeting. And they said, okay, you can. And I was so excited. They said, you have 90 seconds. And I thought, well, they don't understand that, Roddy Galbraith is my mentor, so I can tell a good story in 90 seconds. And so I was all for it. I was just glad they gave me 90 seconds. And so I taught on the law of the rubber band, which I love. I keep rubber bands with me all the time. And for anybody out there listening, if you ever just need a really simple way to teach a leadership lesson to, all ages can understand this. Mm-hmm. But I just keep some rubber bands, with you. And they're just a great symbol for people to remember. I encourage people. I have a grit kit, and I keep it with me, and it has little tools like this that I keep in all the time to remind me about things. So the rubber band was very special to me, and I shared it that day, the law of the rubber band, which we never want to lose, the tension between where we are and where we want to be. I gave everybody a rubber band, and I had noticed right before that meeting, I had seen this bulletin board before, but I was not aware of it until I returned from the John Maxwell event. And it said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And it said John Maxwell. And I was like, I cannot believe that person had that on the bulletin board. I was like, this is just so amazing. I mean, all the planets are lining up. This is just great. This is just, I thought I was John Maxwell. I passed out the rubber bands. We had the training. They all took their rubber band, and the meeting is over, and we're walking down the hall, and everybody's stopping for coffee. And I was like, I was walking about 3 feet off the floor. feeling like top of the world. I mean, I am Miss Leadership World. I mean, just ask me anything. I'm certified, and I've just got it all together. I mean, I went to the training, I had it all together. And somebody said, "You look so nice today." And of course, just being so full of gratitude and just joy. And I turned around and I said, "Thank you so much." And in front of everyone, she said, "I wasn't talking to you."
Oh.
Oh is right. And I was thinking about that rubber band, and I was thinking about that rubber band. I mean, I could have like popped her with the rubber band. I mean, but my mom always taught me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. And so I just decided at that point to keep walking out the back door. I walked down the sidewalk that was about a mile long until I just got to the end of the brick wall. And I thought, you can't go through it, but it was such a moment for me. I'll never forget it. But it was just like, it's not going to happen daily.
Right.
It's not going to happen just because you went to this one-time event. I mean, leadership, it takes every day. It doesn't happen in a day. It happens every day. Every day I got to wake up and become the best version. Every day I'm going to get knocked down.
Right.
But I got to grit back up. So that day, that law of the rubber band really hit me between the eyes.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I absolutely love the law of rubber band as well. And I'm like you, I actually wear my comfort zone armband every day. And it's all about the law of rubber band. So I absolutely love that. So, hey, Lynn, tell us, what area of focus in leadership development space do you kind of play in or focus on?
Well, Cedrick, we've been around each other enough that that I can look at a shiny object. I can there's some distraction, potential with me. In the DISC assessment, I'm an ID. I'll never forget one of the first conversations Cedrick and I had, and I was just a da, 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 and he said, "Hold on, can you explain? Can you say that again?" And it was just like, because I can say a lot in a short period of time. But to answer your question, honestly, I work with people who want to get better. I work with people. I do prefer happy people. I like happy people, but now I've coached. I've had a lot of coaching people that come to me because they're in that place and they're stuck and they're frustrated. So I understand that, but I like people that want to make a difference in the world and they want to become better. So I can't really say that there's just only one area of people that I work with. When I get to that place when, I'm on my island and I'm, floating out there on my raft doing my training from my raft, I'll be able to pick and choose a little bit more. But right now, if somebody comes to me and said, "Could you come and work with our company? Could you come and work with our school? Can you coach me?" I'm raising my hand, yes, because I signed up to make a difference, doing something that makes a difference with people that make a difference at a time that makes a difference. And so I can't qualify it. I can't say that I can't work with this group or that. So, but it's so amazing how it works out, because it just always works out like it's supposed to. And right now I am just totally committed because of the school system in my hometown and these children that I feel like have been left behind, that I am totally committed to bringing leadership, a leadership academy into our school system. Because I do believe this. I want to say this. I do believe everybody has a choice. Mm-hmm. We live in an amazing country. We have freedom and we have choices, and I'm thankful for that. But, let me say this. I also believe that every child that has a breath deserves to have the best education. And I'm not alone in saying this, but I have a call in my life, a moral responsibility and an obligation to make sure that I'm doing my part, to make sure that the children in my community and those I'll never see too. I'm all for helping anybody, but I cannot walk past the ones right here.
Right.
So I am doing several. I'm so excited. We live in a very rural area, and there are several counties around. So I'm doing several back to school trainings with staff before school, just dealing with, teaching through adversity and teaching through uncertainty, and teaching with the focus and emphasis on inclusion and diversity in our classrooms, and creating these these courageous classrooms, because it's upside down right now.
Yes, I
It's
agree with
sideways.
you. I agree with you. Hey, you have some fans that are out there looking at you, and I might say this person's name wrong, but it's Najava Brown is her last name as well.
Yeah,
And
that's my sister. We got the same last name. Hey, girl, it's
yes,
great to see you.
she
I'm
says
glad you jumped
hello,
on here.
and Rocky says hello as well,
Hey,
and
hey.
Ariel St. Fleur says hello as well. And she said, "So good what you're saying," and I agree that every child deserves to have the best education possible, and it's our responsibility. You know that I work a lot in school, so it's our responsibility to help students grow, but we have to help all the adults around them grow as well, so that they can help those students grow. So I know that you also have an area of focus around women. You have a podcast. So tell us, what's the name of your podcast, and tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, well, it's the Gritty Women podcast, and it came out really as a result of the growth that I'm experiencing right now. Is really how it started. 4 years ago, I was just in a really hard place, up against the wall, and I reached out to one of my friends that I had met in the John Maxwell team, Debbie Stroman, and I always like to give her credit for this, because she truly changed the trajectory of my life. That day, she gave me a challenge, and I would want to challenge every single one of you right now listening to do this. Start tonight. Don't even start in the morning. Start tonight. And she told me, she said, Lynn, she said, write 25 things that you're grateful for. Now, we have all heard about gratitude. We've seen the journals. We see the memes. We see the Pinterest quotes. And everybody that you're like says, yeah, I've heard about that. Well, there's a lot of us that know about a lot of things, but don't do the things that we know to do. So knowing and doing is two different things. And I can say that with conviction, because I spent the first half of my life doing not much, but flying by the seat of my pants. And so for some reason that day I listened to her, and I just said, you know what, I'm doing it. And I started that day. And for a couple of years, I did write 25 things a day. Now I have a different journal that I'm using, and I'm writing 5 a day. And I'm also writing down my 10 dreams as if they've already happened every single day. And I would encourage you to do that. But the gratitude is the one thing I've leaned into a lot of the work of Brene Brown. And my life through just growing up, and just my lack of, belief in myself, drove me into a lot of places that caused a lot of shame and guilt in my life. And gratitude is the one thing that will refuel your joy. And it will annihilate it, and it has in my life. And so that's why I'm such a big proponent. So the Gritty Women podcast, the G stands for gratitude, and that's first and foremost in my life. And I am a person of faith, and the Bible is filled with talking about giving thanks and praise, and having a grateful heart. So that's not something that just came out of a little pixie dust blowing sunshine type of scratch off the back of the cereal box. I mean, that was from the big man, So G is for gratitude, and the R in gritty is for resilience, because we all have to be resilient. We have to teach our kids how to be resilient, and that is one thing. Even growing up with the way I parented, a lot of times it was out of fear, and I did too much sometimes, rather than allowing my kids to experience hard. We all have to experience hard. And so resilience is so important. So in the Gritty Women world, we say we fall down 7 times, we grit up 8. So we're very resilient. And the I is for inspiration. We have to be inspired. Hey, Laura, we have to be inspired. If we're not inspired with our own life, if you don't wake up, first of all, if you hit the snooze button, I I'm gonna be your friend, but now listen, you got to figure out something. If you are hitting the snooze button every morning on your life, something's out of whack. And so you need to sit still and ask yourself some questions, because I'm telling you, I don't even need an alarm. I wake up ready. If I didn't have to sleep for health reasons, I wouldn't. I would just live out loud all the
I
time.
can believe that. I can believe that you wake up like happy, ready to go, and just excited.
I am because I'm I'm living in my purpose, and for so long I didn't think I had one, and I want that for everybody because
That is awesome.
it's so true. I do. So
Mhm.
yeah. So the podcast, it's global. It's just amazing. The two T's in Gritty are for think tough, because you got to think tough. Life's not for wimps. This life is not for wimps. I'm sure if we had time to talk to all the people listening, we could say, what's happened in the last week that it's just kind of rocked your boat. I mean, we all go through hard jump. And so it's not for wimps. And the why is you do you. Because I was so fake for so long that I was just whoever everybody else wanted me to be for so long. I was a people pleaser. And so now it's like, you do you and don't hold back. So that's where Gritty came from. And honestly, the Gritty mindset is the foundation of all my coaching, teaching, and training.
Awesome. So, what days is it out?
It's out on Mondays and Fridays, and it's just amazing. I've done so many, had so many guest interviews. So we were really talking about how, to best get all those out there, but we're working on the schedule right now, but 2 days a week right now is all. And it's a little different. It's about a 15 or 20-minute podcast. And I did that because honestly, that's about as much information as I can consume for, a short period of time. And I just thought, well, you know what, we're just going to start there. But, I'm not opposed to longer podcasts, but we just do a little micro podcast there. And there's always a lesson, and I give action steps. And, it's just, I love talking to other people and finding out how they're, creating their best life.
Well, I like that. I'm actually posting your what the Gritty stands for right now. So awesome. So it's out there so people can see it. G is for gratitude. R is for resilience. I is for inspired. The T's are for think tough. And the Y is for you do you. Gritty Women Podcast. It comes out every Monday and Friday. Google Gritty Women Podcast, and you will be able to find Lynn around this. One of the things I talked with Lynn earlier today, and one of the things that she said that I really like, and I wrote it down because it's just awesome. She said for her, she went from broken to bulletproof. Let me say that again. She went from broken to bulletproof. Lynn shared with you earlier that, she suffered from limiting beliefs and doubt and all of these things that a lot of people suffer from. Think about yourself. Are you out there suffering from limiting beliefs, thinking that, you don't have the ability, that you can't do it, giving yourself excuses or alibis of why you can't do something, right? She said she never bet on herself before. She said that she was kicked out of school. She was taken to jail. She said beliefs, she learned when she heard beliefs drives our behavior. It changed her life. And now she's bulletproof. So folks, I want you to know, we're talking to Miss Lynn Brown. She can do it. You can do it.
That's right.
So,
exactly.
So there are several women in the audience, right? And some of them still don't believe. But Lynn, they can hear all day from me, but they need to hear from you. Talk to them, directly to them, and tell them why they need to tune into Gritty Women podcast, and then why should they go from broken to bulletproof?
Well, I think that it's where the freedom is. It's when we can discover, and a lot of times, you can't do alone, because honestly, if you were going to have already broken through the limiting beliefs, you would have already broken through the limiting beliefs. There are just some things that we're too close to, we cannot see. It's the blind spot thing. It's true. And I could not see it. I just thought I was getting these results. It's that law of the lid, you know, I just kept hitting the same results. I was always second. I played not to lose. I never played to win. I quit playing to win because I knew I wasn't going to win. I mean, we'd have a contest at school. They'd flip a coin. There'd be a tie. Maybe I'd be tied with somebody else. They'd flip a coin. I'd lose. I mean, honestly, we were in this little pageant in school, middle school, and they had a Miss Congeniality trophy that they were going to give. And I'll be honest, I voted for myself, but it wasn't. Is that not? I mean, do I not give everybody in the world hope? I mean, this needs to be like on the comedy show somewhere, but because people wouldn't believe it. But it's the truth. I voted for myself. Now, what's funny about that, and it wasn't out of belief. It wasn't because I really thought I was wonderful and nice and Miss Congeniality. I voted out of a limiting belief because I wanted to win so bad. And you know what? This is the ironic part, is that I did win. And I've always thought, now I wonder if it was tied. And I know, you know, I'll never know till I get to heaven. I guess I can ask God. But, you know, it didn't even mean anything to me because I took a shortcut, you know, and I went through life taking shortcuts. And I never made decisions on my own. I was a people pleaser, and then I was caught in the comparison trap. And then on top of that was that broken mindset. And when I mean broken mindset, I'm talking about, I mean, I held back on everything. I would wait for everybody else to move, and then I'd move. But I was I had an outgoing personality, and it's not that I wasn't, you know, doing all the things in school. I mean, you know, I was playing sports, and I was involved. Well, not in the honors and beta club or anything like that. So when they started calling that out, I was left in the study hall, lunchroom. I'm like, we need all the students to come down for the guest speaker, and those of you that need to study, you know, you stay behind. So I mean, that just followed me through. You know, I mean, I chose my college career out of, I mean, like, I just went through the list. I was like, okay, this major, I only have to take one math class. That's why I chose my major. Is that not twisted? But we had to take one math class. It was called Mickey Mouse Math. You can imagine. I passed it. In case you're wondering, I pulled through with a C. And
well, here's the thing, you know, what you're describing, Lynn, and I know we're laughing about it a little bit, but what you're describing is what a lot of people go through, right? And they're just not ready to admit it, accept it, embrace it. And the wonderful thing about you, Lynn, is you've embraced it, and you know that there are greater things out there for you in life. And that's the beautiful thing, right? And I think that, because one of my questions is to you was, so every time I see you, see all the stuff I'm learning about you now, I would have never imagined that, you know, because every time I see you, you're always happy, motivated, you're a big old smile all the time, right? So, you know, I'm learning a whole lot about you, but what I believe is now is that you've just embraced it. You're happy with Lynn Brown. And when you become happy with yourself, wow, it's so freeing, right? And you don't have to worry about what this person is doing or that person is doing, or if they're happy with it or not. So help our audience, because I know that there's a lot of people that's that's walking that same path. Help them, Lynn, understand, why is it today you're always so happy and have that big smile?
And I know that everybody listening, y'all know too, and Cedrick does too. I mean, there are days, you know, we all have our days, and there are moments that have a heaviness in my heart. You know, Sunday morning it was like that, and I didn't know where it was coming from. You know, so we have heaviness in our heart, and you know, and I can get perturbed in a New York minute, and I love Jesus, but sometimes I'll cuss too. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but I do. I can get mad, and I can just blow everything and just make a mess of everything. But this is what I know: the day that I began to practice gratitude, and the day that I started believing in my value, and I started believing in the God that created me, I started really believing that for me. Because see, I would believe it for you. For every single one of you listening, I would believe it for you. I would believe it for everybody, anybody around the world. But I didn't believe it for me. And when I began to start with that one discipline led to the next thing, and to the next thing, and to the next thing. And now I've created these systems in my life, and I was able to, and I'm not telling you that my mind, that it's not always sunshine and happy clappy all the time. Those thoughts do come back, but I have been in mentorship and in a growth environment for going on whatever, 6 years, whatever. And so I've learned techniques and learned things, and the average person is clueless. They just think that it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I was raised a lot of times, and it's like, it's just be happy with what you have, and it is what it is. So I never really knew that I could change things. It's like, I never knew I could throw down the hand that I was dealt and pick up a new hand. I just thought I had to kind of deal with the hand I had. And now I'm beginning to add all these new cards, and it's daily. I mean, it's, just things are happening as I'm growing, that it's going to always be that way. As long as I'm growing, it will always be that way.
Sure. Absolutely.
But just an example, and I have to touch on this because it's a great example of just how life, your life gives you the content. Life is the curriculum for your, what is it? Your life is the curriculum for what? Help me, Cedrick.
I don't know.
The content of your life. The content of your life is the curriculum for your life.
Okay.
So what that is saying is that the things that we're going through right now, from the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
to the unrest in our world, around just racism, that is just providing for all of us just this amazing time of growth and just content, just rich content. So a couple of days ago, I was like, you know what? I'm in a group called Future Proof, and so it was a 100-day program. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have 100 brave conversations. And I just thought, I'm just going to talk to people that, I mean, I'm friendly, so I talk to everybody, but I'm going to ask them some questions that maybe I wouldn't normally ask on a, when I'm working out around the track or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so it's just been so amazing, that one thing, the richness, the stories, the relationships that I've built in my community, just by stopping for a few minutes and asking conversations. And that is what I'm saying. When you're in a growth environment, and when you're focused to become the best version of you, so that you can take that and add value to other people, these opportunities will be everywhere. You will see them everywhere, because they are everywhere. And just the other day, there was, and it's funny because I gave him the link to your institute, Cedrick. But I met a young man walking around the track, and I just said, "When did you graduate from high school? Was I at the middle school when you were there?" And so basically, long story short, he had a dream of owning his own lawn care business. And I said, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to connect with this, and I want you, to become part of this community." And I said, there are people that can add value to you, and there's ways for you to grow, so that this can be a reality. And he was like, "Thank you so much." I mean, he was so appreciative, just the sweetest, spirit, and just so kind, and just waved so big to me when he was leaving. And I thought, but that's an example of just wherever you are, do what you can with what you have.
Yes. Well, that's what transformational leaders do. That is awesome. So let me turn to focus again to women, because I want to make sure that we touch on women tonight and focus on them. So give us one or two things that women entrepreneurs should do to have a positive impact on their business?
And thank you for pulling me back to that, Cedric. See how we work together? See, Cedric he's focused, he's detailed, and he can just take that lasso and just pull me right back in. And I appreciate that. That's great. And that's what you want in your life. You want people that'll just keep you where your gifts are. Okay, so with women, I think it's the same for all of us, and I think it's a little different. But number one, the challenge I give every single person I work with is for 30 days, I want you to write gratitude for 30 days. Because this is what I know. If you're willing for every day for 30 days to write gratitude, then you're serious about wanting a different result in your life. I find a lot of times that people want the different result. They just don't want to do what it takes to get the different result.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants, a lot of people are like, how do you do what you want to do? I want to do that. How did you go speak there? How did you? And I'm thinking, do you really want to know? Do you want me to add up the investment that I've made over the last, going on whatever 6 years? You really want to know? You really don't want to know. You want to know how many hours I'm on mentorship calls? You want to know how many hours, that I'm in training? So, gratitude, just creating that discipline is key.
Okay.
The second thing I would say is, look at who you're hanging around. Now, I'm not telling you to go drop all your friends or your family, but what I'm saying is just be aware of those 5 people that you are around the most, because you become the average. We hear that, don't we?
Right.
You become the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. Are they lining up with your values? Are they lining up with your values? Are they, when you share with them something that you're excited about and your dream, when I share with somebody what I want to do and they start telling me why it's not going to happen, that's not an alignment. That is not a good fit. You need to be very aware of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And don't ever take advice from anybody that you would not want to trade places with. There are a lot of people out there that want to straighten your crown and tell you why it was crooked. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of women out there that, you share your dream and they're like, oh yeah, I knew that. My cousin did that and she lost everything. When I went to the bank, because I had to go to the bank to borrow money for my first investment to get certified in the John Maxwell team. I had to borrow the money because I had a business that went way south, and I went through a bankruptcy and the whole 9 yards. And somebody said, I sure hope this works out for you. I sure hope this one works for you. And another person said to me, what you selling now? In other words, what you trying now?
Right.
But I knew in my heart that I had found the call of my life. And so when you know that, you will fight for your dream and you will protect it. And your dream needs all of you. And you can't afford to have the negative thoughts. You can't. And your mind, your subconscious mind, does not know the difference between truth, something you think, or something that's really happening. That's proven. That's not just Lynn Brown talking about happy little sunshine thoughts. That is for real. They have done studies and studies. There was one research project they gave this one group some piano music and said, you're going to practice this song for 2 hours every day for 2 weeks. They gave another group said, you can play whatever you want to, whenever you want to. The last group, they said, what we want you to do is just rehearse it in your mind every day for 2 hours. At the end of 2 weeks, guess what? The people that rehearsed it in their brain had made as much progress as the people that had practiced intensely for 2 hours a day. So your thoughts matter. If they're broken like mine were, then they need to be fixed.
Absolutely. I agree with you. So what I put on the screen is the law of the inner circle, and it says a leader's potential is determined by those closest to them. And here's what Lynn said for women, two things for women to really do. For the next 30 days, if you are serious about being a great leader, a great entrepreneur, and you could be leading in your community, could be leading in your job, could be leading at home. For the next 30 days, write a gratitude statement. For the next 30 days, not some days, not most days, not every other day, but every day for the next 30 days, write a gratitude statement. The second thing she said is really around the law of the inner circle. She says, be aware of the 5 people that are closest to you. What are they saying to you? Are they uplifting you? Are they beating you down? Are they encouraging you? Are they trying to discourage you? Are they helping bring you to another level? Are they trying to pull you down? That's going to make the difference in your success or your failure. That's going to make the difference in your mindset. Lynn, has been a pleasure having you here. This time has really passed by. We have like 5 minutes left. This time has really passed by fast. So help me out, Lynn. If somebody wants to follow up with you, they want to reach you, they want to get connected with Greedy Women Podcast, or they want to get connected with Lynn Brown Youth Services, how can they do that?
It's real simple. My website is lynnbrown.net. So you can just www.lynnbrown, that's LYNNE, lynnbrown.net, NET.
And it's in the comments.
All right, perfect. That's great. Yeah, I'll be happy to help any of you in any way that I can. And of course, we do all things virtual these days. So we can do face-to-face or virtual, whatever, I'll try not to turn off the training if it's a virtual event or whatever, but hey, we're just all work in progress here.
Right. And remember, Greedy, and I'm writing this back in the comments as well, Greedy Women Podcast, which comes out on Mondays and Fridays. And if you Google Greedy Women Podcast, I did it earlier today. If you Google Greedy Women Podcast, it comes up. And reach out to Lynn, listen to a podcast. If you want to get inspired, if you want to get motivated, if you want to help a youth get inspired and motivated, encourage, all of those things, have them reach out to Lynn Brown. She can definitely help you. Lynn, you're in Florida, right?
Yeah. A very small town. It's called Madison, Florida. We have 4 stoplights. So, but hey, we have internet. So, hey, you can get in touch with me. I have a cell phone. It works.
So the internet has reached Madison, Florida, folks.
Out here in the woods. Yes. You can reach me. I mean, I'm sitting right here in the woods, and talking to people in the Netherlands and Denmark and all over the world. So it's exciting. So exciting. Thank you so much, Cedrick, for having me today. It's been awesome to be with your community. I look forward to us just growing together and making this world better.
Well, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And folks, if you enjoyed having Lynn on today, I want you to make sure that you encourage her, say yes in the comments, reach out, say hello to Lynn, send her a message, reach out to Greedy Women Podcast. That way she'll know that you enjoyed her today. Folks, I want to tell you that in just a few minutes at 6:30 Central Time, I will be live on the Empowered Living Network with the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. We have our show again at 6:30 Central Time here in just a few minutes. So tune on over to the Empowered Living Network. We're going to be Lord, tonight's session is just going to be on fire. So definitely tune in. And then at 7:30 Central, come back over here to Talk with TK. Talk with TK is about mindset. So millennials, iGeners, come back over here and tune in to Talk with TK on Mindset 180 Academy. You're going to enjoy it. Remember, folks, if you're not at the table, You're on the menu. Don't be on the menu. Good night.